Welcome to Liquidation Preferences. This is a training brief with the Next Wave Angel Training Program. Liquidation preferences define how your capital is returned to you in the case of a liquidation event. It's often expressed as 1x or 2x. So if you invested 100K, a liquidation preference of 1x would mean that you get your initial 100K back before anything else would happen with the rest of the funds. We also define non-participating or participating, which we'll go into with an example. Let's say you invested 500K for 20% of a company. That means that post-money valuation for that company is worth $2.5 million. So the pre-money valuation in that case was 2 million plus a 500K investment means that company is now worth or has a post-money valuation of 2.5 million. Let's say that company sold for $1 million, which is not a good thing. If there was no liquidation preference, you would own 20% of a $1 million company. So you'd get 200K back and the entrepreneurs would receive 800K. So for your 500K investment, you'd see a loss of 300K. Whereas if you had a 1x liquidation preference, you would get that 500K back before anything else happens. If it's participating, that means you're still part of that company after you get your liquidation preference back. So you get your 500K back, but then there's still, that company still has 500K, which you'd own 20% of. So you'd still get 100K from that, and your investment would get, you would receive 100K on top of your 500K initial investment, whereas the entrepreneurs would receive 400K. It's non-participating. That means after you get your money back, you have no right or ownership of that company afterwards. So you would receive 500K, your original investment, and the entrepreneurs would receive 500K. It's usually written as something like this. In the event of any liquidation or winding up of the company, holders of the Series C preferred stock shall be entitled to receive, in preference to the holders of the common stock, a per share amount equal to 1x or 1.5x or 2x the original purchase price. Often when you're investing in Series Seed, your preferred stock does not participate alongside common, but can be converted to common. Whereas often with a Series A, you could participate. So let's see another example, but let's first mention it's usually 1-to-1 ratio or 1.5-to-1 ratio. Anything larger than that is not very entrepreneur friendly, and investors in later stages don't like to see a 2x or a 3x ratio and will often negotiate that down. There's also optional and automatic conversions. So optional just means you can convert your preferred to common at any time, and automatic or mandatory means, for example, if there was initial public offering, a preferred stock would convert to common automatically. So let's look at a better outcome for the company. Again, it's your 500K investment for 20% of the company, so a $2.5 million post-investment valuation. But let's say now the company sells for $5 million instead of $1 million. If you had a 1x liquidation preference non-participating, you would just get your investment back, your 500K, and the entrepreneurs would walk away with 4.5 million. You would like to convert that to common stock, so you would own 20% of a $5 million company. So you would receive $1 million back. So in addition to your 500K, you'd receive another 500K in return. Now, if you had been able to participate alongside that, you would then own, you would get 1x back, so your 500K, but then you'd still own 20% of a $4 million company, or 800K, and so your full return would be 1.3 million. But as I said, a lot of times seed investors don't get to participate alongside the common stock. Hopefully that shed some light on liquidation preferences. If you have questions, there's more info and training on nextwaveimpact.com. I'd like to thank Rocky's Venture Club and Women's Investor Network for some of the examples used in this training.